U.S. troops push into Afghan towns. U.S. Marines have moved into villages and Taliban strongholds in southern Afghanistan, meeting very little resistance as they try to win over local chiefs. There have been some casualties. One Marine was killed and several others injured when some 4,000 Marines launched the operation in Helmand province, a remote area that is the center of the country's illegal opium cultivation, which helps finance the insurgency, or the Taliban. So far, however, there has been little resistance from the Taliban, according to a military spokesman. The aim of the operation is not simply to kill Taliban fighters, but to somehow win over the local population, the spokesman said. A very difficult task in a region where foreigners are viewed with deep suspicion. We are not worried about the Taliban. We are not focused on them. We are focused on the people, the spokesman said. It is important to engage with the key leaders, hear what they need most, and what are their priorities. So what has been done in the last 8 years in Afghanistan? What positive things have come out of all that time? And how are they going to be able to undo all that has been done? Afghanistan has been destabilized. The offensive along 55 miles, 88 kilometers of Taliban-controlled areas in southern Afghanistan will test the Obama administration's new strategy of holding territory that led the Afghan government sink roots in rural areas where Taliban influence is strong. At least, that's the way it's supposed to go, in theory. The insurgency has proven particularly resilient in the area, and foreign troops have never before operated in such large numbers here. Large areas have been under Taliban control with little or no government presence. Deep misunderstandings. And a display of deep misunderstandings that any foreigner is at pains to overcome. An elder with a gray beard asked the Marines whether they will stop them from saying their prayers. In describing the Taliban, they compared them to Americans. They spend one night in the village and then move on to another village, just as you guys do, the elder said. So, how is this good? How will better relations be created this way? Taking ground from the Taliban in Afghanistan has always proved easy, but keeping it and ensuring the government's presence has been the difficult part. The military challenges are compounded by the fact that the area is the world's largest producer of opium, and drug profits feed the insurgency and corrupt government officials. So Afghanistan accounts for more than 90% of the world's production of opium, and Helmand province alone is responsible for about half that amount. In other words, these people may make a lot of money off that. It's difficult to tell who is Taliban and who is civilians. They all have the same face, same beard, and same turban. It is very, very difficult to defeat them. So in other words, they are the people. They are the people who live in Afghanistan. They've been there a long time. So you're fighting, well, they're fighting actually many tribes and many different groups. And they just lump them into one big group and call them insurgents, or the Taliban. So in reality, they're all the people, or they're many of the people that live in the villages, that live in the land. 3 years ago, only a handful of U.S. troops were in Helmand, Afghanistan's biggest province that is bisected by the Helmand River. While the spokesman said winning hearts and minds was the mission's main focus, if possible, other military officials have said the immediate goal of the offensive is to clear away the insurgents, or the Taliban, before Afghanistan's August 20th presidential election. So it's also a political thing. Southern Afghanistan is a Taliban stronghold, but also a region where the Afghan president is trying to get votes from fellow tribesmen. Without such a large marine assault, the Afghan government would likely not be able to set up voting booths where citizens could safely travel. So the Pentagon is deploying 21,000 additional troops to Afghanistan in time for the elections, and expects the total number of U.S. forces there to reach 68,000 by year's end. That is double the number of troops in Afghanistan in 2008, but still half as many as are now in Iraq. Even bigger challenges perhaps will come in the weeks and months after the Marines have established their presence here. Somehow, the U.S. will have an opportunity to theoretically develop alternate livelihoods for farmers whose opium poppy crops bankroll the Taliban, who have made a violent comeback since the U.S.-led invasion ousted them from power in 2001. These are more signs. And again, what about Pakistan? The drone attacks are making more Taliban. They're making the local people very angry. Yes, the Predator drone attacks, or just any of the drone attacks, they tend to cause a lot of anger among the local population. And how is that good? Anyway, when will this war end? How much longer will it go on? What possible good could come out of it? If anything at all, and could it end up badly? These are all more signs of the end times, transition days. The transition is ongoing, it's happening every day, day by day, all around the world. And these are more signs.